Okay, so I'm back. Talked with Mom. We had a good visit. And we're going to have Grandpa keeping busy tomorrow because we got a lot of things that need done around here. And I'm going to put Grandpa busy and finding uh, ways to get it done. So, anyway, Prevention Magazine, November 2021. On page 8. This is for all of you people with those little watches that keep track of steps. Listen to this. How many steps do you truly need? If you're ruled by the 10,000 steps a day health advice, a new study suggests that you might want to be able to adjust that goal. An average of 4,500 daily steps was associated with a significantly lower risk of dying, according to the data from uh, 16,732 women over the age of 60. And it didn't matter whether those steps were taken in short bursts or in longer uninterrupted walks. But please don't feel pressured to stop there. Research shows that compared with taking no steps, each initial increase of 1,000 extra steps taken slashed the risk of death by 28%. Need a little motivation? Try moving, the new walking program from Charge Running. The healthiest Thanksgiving Day talk. Now, here's a conversation starter that you can use whether you're gathering virtually or in person. Asking about your family's health history is a Thanksgiving Day and National Family Health History Day, so it's a perfect time to bring this up. Even if you do all the good for you things to stay on top of your health, having a close family member with certain conditions, including heart disease, diabetes, osteoporosis, or colorectal, breast, or ovarian cancer can raise your risk of developing them. Learning about your family's health arms you and your doctor with knowledge that can be used to unlock clues. Here, Heathcliff. Hold on a second. Oh, Heathcliff. Heathcliff. Sorry. But little boy has to be held on my lap. Okay. Now where were we at? Clues about potential risk. The more you can learn and share, the more puzzle pieces they have to see the full picture of your health, says Mikhail Varshisky, the DO, a family medicine physician in New Jersey. This is all more important than ever right now, since certain underlying conditions can make COVID-19 a particularly dangerous risk after you give thanks. So do these two easy tasks. Create a family health tree. Write down the names of close relatives on both sides of the family, parents, siblings, grandparents, aunts, uncles, nieces, and nephews. Find time to talk to each about their condition or what they have and their age of diagnosis. Even if you think that you know everything in your lineage, these conversations can reveal details that may be super important. Share what you learn. Once you've gathered the information, keep it easily accessible. The CDC's free online tool, My Family Health Portrait, called phgkb.cdc.gov/FHH, lets you organize your family health history and share it with your doctor and other family members who may benefit from it. I know you're a good boy, Heathcliff. Okay. The 10 quick super health fixes. We're going to definitely try and hit this. I don't know if we're going to get it all the way through. Hitting a major health goal, like setting a stronger muscle or having a healthier heart, can take a lot of patience and hard work. But when you've got an itchy bug bite or a headache or a pain in your neck and you want it to relieve right now, so we've rounded up expert-approved tricks for feeling better almost as soon as you say, ouch, by Leslie Goldman. Okay. In 1 minute, you can boost your blood sugar by drinking skim milk. Now, in a perfect world, you would eat well-rounded meals at regular intervals, keeping your blood sugar steady from morning until night. But when you're slammed at work, you have to ferry your kids to a million activities, or you just haven't had a moment to sit down for a proper meal, you can wind up lightheaded, shaky, anxious. A quick, long-lasting fix? Well, chug down 6 to 8 ounces of skim milk. Lactose is a fast-acting carbohydrate. Within a few minutes, it will move from your stomach to your intestines and start converting into blood sugar. says Wendy Bazilian, Dr. PhD, author of Superfood RX Diet. Why skim? The fat in 2% or whole milk slows down the effect of blood sugar and increases an energy boost. And if you're vegan or lactose intolerant, a small handful of dried fruit with nuts can do it too. Number 2, lubricate dry eyes with cold drops. Now, dry eyes are super common, especially in women that as they age, says Alan Mendoza-son. And I apologize, Alan, I probably didn't pronounce your name right. He's an MD and eye surgeon in Hollywood, Florida. To pump up the relief, you get the OTC eye drops, store them in the fridge. The cold temperature changes the viscosity, so they penetrate the cornea surface better than they would at room temperature, Dr. Minnesota says. Plus, the cool drops are just a lot more comforting. If you're not feeling relief after several days, you need to see your eye doctor to rule out an infection. Okay. Tame a headache with a glass of water. Now, if you have a headache, gulp down a glass of water. Sometimes dehydration causes that, says Stavros A. Kavos. He's a PhD doctor of the Arizona State University at the Hydration Science Lab. He says that when you skip H2O, the body secretes hormone in anticipation of what it thinks will be a state of dehydration, and some of the hormones can cause a headache. The brain itself may also slightly shrink without sufficient water, which doesn't feel good. Number 4, soothe a superficial wound with honey. Now, you got a scrape or the first-degree burn? Slather on honey for an instant relief, specifically Manuka honey, which you can find in the natural food shops or the big box store. The sweet stuff from New Zealand contains an antibacterial, anti-inflammatory compound called methglyoxal, which is MGO, which offers broad-spectrum protection against at least 80 strands of microorganisms, including the MRSA and a strep A. It disinfects without stinging, making it a smart choice for kids' ouches. Apply to a clean cut or burn as you would antibiotic ointment. Cover it with a bandage, says Emily Rubenstein, the DO, head of dermatology at Chicago Swedish Skin Institute. Change the bandage daily. Reapply honey as needed, and this is for minor cuts and burns only. If there's excessive bleeding or a burn that is blistering or swelling, please get medical help. In 5 minutes you can. Number 5, remove a splinter with glue. The usual go-to for a splinter removal is tweezers or a needle, but that can hurt, says medical anthropologist Terry Graydon, PhD, co-founder of the website The People's Pharmacy. Plus, the traditional splash of rubbing alcohol or a wave of a flame doesn't truly sterilize. Instead, squirting plain white glue over that splinter, you gotta let it dry. Then you pull it off the direction opposite from which the splinter entered. It should slide out pretty painlessly. Number 6, you can relieve itchy bites with a cold spoon. What do you think about that, babe? I'm talking to Heathcliff. But anyway, here we go. When a mosquito nabs you right on the ankle or the arm, try the Super Fire Fix. Wet a small metal spoon, pop it in the freezer for 5 minutes. Then apply it to the bite. The cold temp constricts the blood vessels, so the histamines from both the insect saliva and your immune system can't spread so far, reducing the itchiness. There's also a little bit of Jedi mind trick action, Dr. Rubenstein says. The cold distracts your itch receptors so you don't notice the sensation as much. Repeat as often as needed. Number 7, you can shut down the hiccups by plugging your ears and swallowing. Now, you can stop asking someone to scare the hiccups out of you. This booeless folk remedy really works. The best way to do it, have someone else firmly plug your ears while you drink a large glass of water. Now, the swallowing will stimulate your vagus nerve, says Anya Hussein, the DO pediatric emergency medicine physician at Johns Hopkins Children's Center in Baltimore. The vagus send a message from the brain to the diaphragm. The muscle that powers the hiccups to calm down. Swallowing slowly also pauses your breathing, giving the diaphragm a needed, necessary break. In 10 minutes, you can dial down the stress with a podcast. The next time you feel anxious, tune into a short podcast. 2 of our favorites are the NPR, StoryCorps, and the Memory Palace for a natural chill-out response. Listening to a great story kicks off the neutral ballet that starts with a slightly increased heart rate, thanks to the dopamine rush, followed by a surge of oxytocin that acts like a pressure release valve for the stress, says Paul Zak, the PhD, a behavioral neuroscientist at Claremont Graduate University. He adds that the topic of the story doesn't matter as long as there's a plot line that draws you in and makes you care, and it creates a sense of immersion that is associated with an improved mood. If you have number 9, work out a crick in your neck by walking. Now listen to this. Sleep in an awkward position and you can wake up feeling as if your head is locked in one position. This happens when one of your cervical joints isn't moving as freely as it should. To loosen it up, take a stroll. When you walk at a decent pace, your arms swinging naturally, creating a motion in all those muscles, which very gently relieves the tension in the neck, explains Shani Soloff, an orthopedic physical therapist in Stamford, Connecticut. You can exaggerate the swing slightly, but not to the point of making the arm circles. She says just walk as you normally would, keeping your shoulders relaxed the whole time. Don't carry a bag, and no talking on the phone. That will only create more tension in your neck. Number 10. Reduce a bee's sting with meat tenderizer. Now, the meat that tenderizes in your pantry can actually treat the bee and wasp's sting. Choose a tenderizer that contains papain, a chemical in the papaya that breaks down meat proteins. It can also break down proteins in bee and wasp's venom. Dr. Hussein says that to be first to get the stinger out of your skin by flicking it off with your fingers, then create a paste of tenderizer in the water that leaves it for 15 to 20 minutes. Now, if you experience any allergic reactions after the sting, get help immediately. Okay, do we have time to finish this book? I hope so. Next is page 64, Science, Does It Work? Apple Cider Vinegar. Some say fermented apple a day will keep the doctor away, but here's the truth. By Jake Henry Smith. Home cook and health nuts have pinned their hopes on many miracle foods through the years: kale, spirulina, bone meal. One of these apple cider vinegar or fermented apple juice has remarkable staying power with a purported benefits both big and small. Some claims like they're warding off some cancer and have zero research to back them up, while others are murkier, couched in pseudo-scientific language and personal success stories. So is ACV worth trying, or does it strike a sour note? To stabilize blood sugar, what's the claim? That apple cider vinegar regulates glucose with short and long-term benefits. Well, what we know. A few small, older studies found that drinking vinegar is in general before or after mealtime could reduce your blood sugar spikes and stabilize glucose after eating. This probably happens because the vinegar is delayed stomach emptying, allowing the body to better metabolize glucose from the bloodstream, says Dennis Goodman, DMD, a cardiologist at the clinical professor and director of the integrative medicine at NYU Langone Health. That's especially helpful for those with type 2 diabetes, but for everyone can benefit from fewer swigs, especially after meals. Should you try it? Sure, but not replace medication, balanced meals, or a doctor. This effect is linked to an acetic acid by a byproduct of fermentation, notes Carl Johnston, PhD, a professor of nutrition at ASU's College of Health Solutions, who studied apple cider vinegar. Any vinegar can be useful, she says, since all vinegars contain it. To add to your diet, she recommends drinking 1 to 2 tablespoons of apple cider vinegar diluted in water. For weight loss, what's the claim? Well, the apple cider vinegar makes you feel fuller with less food. What we know. There is very little scientific evidence in using the apple cider vinegar specifically for weight loss, Johnston says, but it shows some promise. A 2018 study with 39 subjects found that consuming the stuff and cutting 250 calories a day was more effective than reducing calories alone. Authors suggest that the apple cider vinegar reduces hunger. Older research backs this up, having found the vinegar helps people make them feeling fuller after meals. Should you try it? Maybe. It's healthier in general, Dr. Goodman says, because of its probiotic powers and high levels of antioxidants. But it won't transform your body. Changes like eating healthy and exercising more, he explains, are essential. There is no silver bullet for weight loss. to lower blood pressure. What's the claim? That apple cider vinegar alters the enzymes behind the blood pressure. What we know? No clinical evidence links the apple cider vinegar to reduce blood pressure in human beings. A 2001 study found the acetic acid lowered hypertension in rats, probably by lowering the enzyme renin. But this has never been replicated in people. Should you try it? Both experts stress that consuming apple cider vinegar in moderation is fine. Going overboard could damage tooth enamel, worsen acid reflux, Dr. Goodman says, but to reduce the blood pressure, you should stick to DASH diet, get more exercises, quit smoking, and among other changes. Okay. Oh. Gotta adjust the Heathcliff here. Okay, so we got one paper clip left. And it's a good paperclip. It's Prevention Family, Gratitude for Every Age. This holiday season, we are thankful for ideas that help the whole family express their appreciation. Being grateful is linked to increased happiness, lower stress, and better health. And it feels at least as good as your Thanksgiving dinner tastes, by Mary Giles. The week before Thanksgiving, try a photo challenge. Give your child a camera or a smartphone and list the themes, then ask them to photograph subjects that they're grateful for. Then fit each theme. For instance, on Friday, they might photograph things that are grateful for in nature. On Saturday, family. On Sunday, things that bring them joy, and so on and so forth until Thanksgiving Day. Have them tell you all about the photos each night. Afterward, you can print out the images and make an album. At your holiday gathering, make a thank you tree. This is a meaningful holiday centerpiece. Place a small tree branch in a vase, and it says if needed, add rocks or pebbles for stability. At your holiday dinner table, have everyone cut out leaves for colorful construction paper. Punch holes on the top to thread those string through. They can write or draw what they're grateful for on the leaves and hang them on the branch. Every day, keep a gratitude jar. Give your child a pretty jar or other container along with some special colored pencil or marker. Each day write down good things that happened to them along with the day and date. Put them in this jar, and later you can pull out the slips of paper to reminisce about those happy events together. That's all I have to share with you for Prevention November 2021. Thank you for tuning in, and God bless you. And thank you, Heathcliff, for being so nice and staying right there in one position on my lap. And his brother's in the other room. He got tired of this. He was like, I'm out of here. So thank you. God bless. Stay safe. Stay well.